We were very blessed in England last year by a visit from Darrell and Faith Grice, who came to the north of England to Middlesbrough to serve in one of our churches there. And it's a real delight to speak to them today in the Heights at Richardson in Texas. Darrell and Faith, I wonder whether you could share with our American friends what caused you to offer yourselves as an American interim pastor.
After retirement from our particular vocation, it was evident that we had time on our hands. We had opportunities to serve, to minister, to be doing things for the Lord that we hadn't been able to do before. And so that's when we prayerfully sought his leadership. And that's also when we were made aware of the American Interim Pastor ministry. And also we were familiar with England. We knew we loved the country, loved the people, knew the needs of the churches. So the two together made a fit for us.
Now, I know there was some preparation that went on before you came across for the first time. What were the key areas? What were the key things that happened that helped to prepare you?
We were impressed by the thoroughness of all of the process. Chuck McComb, who is the founder and president of American Interim Pastor Ministry, has just done such a thorough job. I guess it comes from his engineering background. But he's also prepared a book that answers really every question you could have. It's entitled Voluntary Ministry in England. And this would be one of the first things I would suggest be placed in the hands of anyone who's interested in pursuing this ministry. But the process would include ultimately making a video of one preaching, because they will be preaching in the churches. That doesn't mean they have to be career pastors. Many laymen who have been lay evangelists or lay preachers in their own right have gone over. But the video of them preaching, then there would be a video of just being interviewed and asking questions about their personal life, their family, etc. The whole point being that they want to help the churches in England that are interested to just become as familiar as they can, that by that means, with the candidates. So the process is very thorough. It starts with an interview, a personal interview with Chuck McComb. That's the beginning. So if there's anyone interested, then that's the beginning of the process.
Perhaps you could give us some guidance as to why you actually accepted a call to that church in Middlesbrough in 2011.
Well, that's easy to answer. We felt God leading us there. We had prayed about it, and when the call came, we felt in our hearts that it was the thing to do. And we were greatly rewarded. It was the greatest blessing to be with those dear people. We just fell in love with them, and I'll just say this, that I don't take a large leadership role in the church. I support Darrell totally in the ministry, but I feel like my gift is just to go and love the people, encourage them, to be there for them. And I don't know.
And there's no greater need than that.
No, no. So I would say that's primarily the thing, though. When the call came, we knew it in our hearts that it was the thing for us to do.
But we talked about the process. Let me go on further. What would happen is Cambridge Road, when they expressed an interest, then Chuck decides prayerfully, very prayerfully, on 4 candidates. It's always 4 candidates that he will send to the church, and he will send their videos and all the information, the references, if they want to follow through, so that the church has an opportunity to prayerfully consider these 4. Our prayer on our end was that God would lead them to unanimously decide on one of the candidates, and if they did, then we would see that as God's leadership. And then when the call came, one night, right, it was late, and said that Cambridge Road had unanimously asked if we would consider coming, and we could quickly say yes.
Now the church got themselves well prepared, providing a house for you, etc. What were the things that they did that helped you to settle in very quickly?
They had made every preparation necessary to make us feel very comfortable, very welcome from the moment that we walked in the door of the manse, they called it, the parsonage as we here in America would call it. They had provided food. Several ladies were there to welcome us, to show me about the manse. Everything was just as it should be. We felt very welcome, a very warm welcome from the very beginning.
In fact, the beginning, of course, is when we landed at Manchester Airport from the States, and that's always a very important time to know if somebody's there. And sure enough, a deacon was there to greet us, and then drove us the 2.5 hours to Middlesbrough, so we had an opportunity to just get acquainted during that time. And then while Faith was visiting with the ladies in the manse, he took me to get the car that they had rented for us, and made sure I was able to drive on the wrong side or the right side to them of the road. And once that was secure, then I followed him on back to the manse. We had lunch together, and then it's just been one thing after another, trying to make us feel right at home, which we did. And I would say to any one that is considering being a candidate or going with American Interim Pastor Ministry, you can just rest assured they're such warm, hospitable people, and they will do everything to make you welcome and feel at home.
Now, I'm sure our American friends would love to hear what were the joys and the blessings that you experienced during your time there in the north of England.
It's hard to put into words the joy that we experienced in Cambridge Road, the friendships that we made, the warmth of the people, just seeing changes in lives. We saw some dramatic changes as God worked in people's lives, and so the joys were more than we can express. They said we had been a blessing to them, but the fact is they were far more a blessing to us, and it was a highlight in our lifetime, really, to serve with them during that time. And we were there during a time when they were hurting, but God used that time to help bring about a lot of healing, and also allow them to move toward the time when they can call a full-time British pastor, which they are in the process of working toward right now. And that, I would say to anyone who is considering going with American Interim Pastor Ministry, that's our ultimate aim, is to help them to grow strong enough and with a vision to call a British pastor and to move on ahead in that direction. We're just interim. We are not there permanent. We're not there to Americanize. We are there just to help them, to encourage them. And what we look for are those who love the Lord, who love people, and who are willing to serve. So if you fit that, then you're one that we look for.
That's right.
And lastly, Darrell and Faith, I wonder if you could give our friends some encouragement as to perhaps those churches that might want to support American Interim Pastors Ministry, and also anybody that's going to watch this who might want to offer themselves for this particular ministry.
Well, we would strongly encourage you to prayerfully consider this as a part of your ministry. God is using this ministry to help a number of churches in the UK that desperately need help. And it's also providing opportunity for some Americans, some who are retired pastors, some who are retired laymen, who have responded to the call to make a difference in churches that need help. And so we would strongly encourage you to prayerfully consider this. And if you can't go, don't feel you can, perhaps you could lead your church to help this ministry, because there's a great need for financial help in some of the churches who would love to have an American interim pastor, but they can't provide it. The request is that they provide the airfare and the accommodations, a manse or some accommodations, and a rental car. Well, some churches are not able to do that, and one of the churches we serve were not able to, and so several churches in the States provided monthly help in order to make that possible. And so that's a possibility that you could use your influence to lead your church to make a contribution. But there's something you could do, and I just pray that God called you. And Faith knows what a blessing it is.
Absolutely. It has been, as Darrell said, one of the great blessings of our lives. We just are so appreciative for Chuck, for that he gave us the opportunity, and most of all, of course, to the Lord, that he has blessed us so very much by being involved in these churches in the lives of so many wonderful people that we continue to stay in touch with. And so just thank the Lord for that opportunity.
So we pray God will be calling some of you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. It's always a delight to talk to you.